It's The List and your boy with Jimmy Van and Sean Ross Sapp.
With Jimmy and Sean, sell pills for your dong. Make a fantastic song. Make a fantastic song.
What's up, you guys? The List and your boy, not live whatsoever. I mean, kind of live. 123. I got all this space above my head. You do too, Jimmy. What is this?
So I wanted to just say something, all right? Because I've seen the comments on YouTube and stuff, and people think that we're a bunch of bumbling idiots the last few weeks.
You see the comments on YouTube. You've lived it, Jimmy.
Yeah. People are, I've been saying things like, oh, get new servers, and oh, I used to love this show, and now the show is a train wreck. What people need to understand is we're not sitting around twiddling our thumbs and hoping that this thing will work every week. We have been doing due diligence on every step of this process. I have an IT guy. I have a new media guy. I have all these people plus Nigel. They've been looking at everything from, is the cabling, good? Let's look at the network. Let's look at how things are connected to the panel. Let's look at the software configuration, resolution, checking everything. Wouldn't you know, today I'm told, okay, we think we have a solution. We're ready to go live at 6 o'clock. Awesome. And then at 4:30, Nigel comes up here and starts setting up the assets for the show. My contractor renovating our office downstairs, I guess in an effort to fish the cables through, fucked up our media room, broke one of the data ports, didn't tell me about it, and don't think I'm happy about that whole thing, which I will take care of tomorrow.
I thought fishing was supposed to be easier in Canada.
That's cute. That's cute. But that's basically what's going on. So we're taping the show because I don't trust the live stream under the circumstances. We're going to tape this show. And then after Vegas, Sean, the shit's going to work after Vegas because my contractor's fixing this data port. He's fixing it tomorrow as far as I'm concerned. And this thing will work. So I told Nigel, this might be one of 3 or 4 beers we're going to have today. I'm not even using my cozy, and I don't care.
You're mad.
Because I put a lot of time and money into this stuff, Sean.
I know you did. I mean, this room was a discussion, it felt like 2 years ago. And it wasn't free. This wasn't free. It feels like almost as soon as the old room was done, this one was a discussion. That's what it feels like to me. But damn. Yeah, and if people could see what I'm looking at right now, I should take a picture of my view. I got 2 cameras, I got a big screen TV, I got Nigel's production desk over here. This is all new stuff that we bought. Yeah. And so you're damn right I'm frustrated. I was joking with Sean and Nigel off the air. My only gift for Christmas that I want this year is I want to do a full podcast without any glitches. Well, I'm hoping that can be a Memorial Day gift for you instead, because I don't want to wait until Christmas.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. All right, let's try to move on and talk about another bummer. Grumpy Cat. How you feel, Sean?
That is a bummer. I'm a cat lover. That's sad. I don't know what our Litter Robot coupon code is, but there you go.
I don't know either.
I think it's a link. Maybe? I think it's a link. They didn't give us a code, but I like my Litter Robot. It's fantastic.
I do too. I love mine too. So you excited for Vegas? I showed something to Sean off the air.
Are you ready for Viva Ross Vegas?
It's gonna be an interesting event. I'm looking forward to going because of the fact that you've never been to Vegas.
It's true.
And so I'm looking forward to just kind of seeing you like a kid in a candy store running around out there.
Not only have I never been to Vegas, I've never been west of San Antonio, and I've only been west of Indianapolis once.
Okay, well, this is going to be a trip. I've gotten to the point now where I kind of don't like going to Vegas anymore, but because of this, StarCast, and you've never been, and so I'm going to go and I'm going to make the best of it. But
I mean, you told me to bring an Amazon Fire Stick because you're not even going to the show.
It's true. Yeah. Sean was like, hey, they weren't able to get me an extra credential for Double or Nothing, so why don't you just buy a cheap ticket? I said, fuck that. I'll watch it in the room.
You'll spend more watching it in the room than you will getting a ticket.
You know what's funny? Let me tell you a quick story. So I don't know if I said this on the air. Last time I was in Orlando back in March, before this most recent trip, I'm walking through the Orlando airport and I passed Braun Strowman. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
So Braun Strowman walks by me. I was with my wife, and my wife goes, "Hey, there's Braun Strowman," and she looks at me, and I went, "Yeah, that's nice." and my wife said to me, "I can't believe you didn't even flinch." And I told her, I'm kind of past the theatrics of it all. Like, I'm more into the business side of it now. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm still a fan, and I still like watching a good match and a good story. But I don't get stoked about seeing the wrestlers in person anymore. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of the job now. But
yeah,
I look forward to this week because my God, there's like 50 people that are going to be there that either I correspond with on a daily to weekly basis, or quite frankly, I get stories from, I get scoops from. And I even
got your business card, Sean.
You did? Well, you've sent them to be made. We'll see how that works.
Oh, it'll work. They're good. They're right across the street here. They'll be good. They'll be good. And we're doing dinner on Friday night.
Yeah.
It's going to be nice. I told you, no ripped jeans, no white sneakers, Sean.
Well, I'm going to have to sew my jeans back up then.
You might have to.
No white sneakers? Really?
I don't know. You're supposed to dress business casual, right?
I am wearing some beautiful blue and white custom Air Force Ones, but I'm bringing extra shoes, Jimmy. Don't you worry.
Okay, good.
You should show up in like a pair of leather white loafers or something like that.
You mean like Mr. Furley style?
Yeah,
from like 1972.
I was thinking Eddie from what's it called? Vegas or not Vegas?
Oh yeah.
Summer Vacation.
I got it. All right, let's move on. I want to talk about Ashley Massaro.
Yeah.
WWE Diva Search winner, former Playboy Playmate. She passed away on May 16, 10 days shy of her 40th birthday. And it's come out that it was suicide. She leaves behind an 18-year-old daughter. It seems like she's been universally praised. Ashley Massaro was one of these girls that I was admittedly kind of indifferent about in terms of a talent. You know, didn't love her, didn't hate her. But she's been universally praised by everybody from Maria Kanellis, Trish Stratus. Justin Roberts had some positive things to say about her. Really tragic thing, man. 10 days shy of her 40th birthday. I didn't know. I had never heard of her, dealing with any mental health issues or depression issues. I know that she had been part of that class action lawsuit against WWE, the CTE lawsuit. Otherwise, I hadn't heard too much about her. Really tragic. 10 days shy of 40. It's way too young.
I had very limited experience with her, to like maybe a few weeks ago when I was trying to see who would be at StarCast and trying to set up interviews. I noticed she had her DMs open, and I said, "Hey, can I grab an interview in Las Vegas?" She said, "Absolutely, I'd love to." I was like, "I was surprised your messages were open." And she said, "Yeah, I like to talk to fans. I like to interact with them." And she's gone, and it's a bummer. And
why was she going to StarCast exactly?
I don't know. I think she was booked. She was booked for something in Las Vegas. It's a convention. People are there. They're booked for the show. All kinds of hundreds of wrestlers are there. Why would anybody be there?
I guess I still don't really understand the concept of StarCast. Like, I didn't know.
It's like WrestleCon.
Is it like WrestleCon?
It's the same thing. Only it has panels.
Okay, I thought it was
and shows. And
I thought it was all podcast wrestling podcast related.
Jimmy, do your homework.
Whatever. I have you for that.
Mate.
Remember when they did the first one and they had like a paid podcast row, and I told Sean I refused to pay a dime to put ourselves on podcast row. Who the hell would ever do that?
And that's like last year. This is the different. Well, it's not even different. They have shows. They have they had the Roast of Ric Flair plan. They have a lot of different panels and stuff like that set up. This is
but it's also a signing, basically a signing.
Yeah, signings, meet and greets.
All right,
different stuff like that. Jimmy, they have a website.
I got you for that. You tell me what's going on.
Evidently not. I'm flying out in less than 12 hours.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
So Sean was staying, I don't know where the hell you're staying, like the Red Roof Inn or something, and I moved him over to Caesars. We're going to have fun. It's going to be good,
Are we?
Yes.
You sound like you don't have a clue what's going on there.
I'm there to see you in Vegas for your first time.
It's all right. I'll hit you with the address of Disco's Club, and you can at least we know what's going on there.
Disco's Club?
Disco Inferno.
What about him?
He runs a strip club, Jimmy.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Godfather does. Disco does too?
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Okay, is that where we're going?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe, Jimmy. I don't know. I've got a lot of errands.
Are you still in his football league, fantasy football league with him?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. It's a fantasy football league that has like some UFC fighters, comedians, wrestlers, and he was the advisor of the league. He wasn't in the league.
Okay.
He would troll everybody who didn't win in the league. That was his sole purpose of existing. Kind of like his general existence on Twitter.
So, do you have enough of a relationship with him that if I went up to him at the club and pointed at you and said, "Hey, you know, Sean's your buddy, so how about like $2 a song for a lap dance for him?"
Yeah, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. I am supposed to interview him like maybe Sunday though. Looking forward to that.
Let's move on. Let's move on and talk about
unless
Brock
you want the
Lesnar.
dance from him, then maybe he'll cut you the deal.
That would make for a Fightful Select exclusive.
I don't know. I get the feeling that Disco, ain't nothing exclusive about our dude Disco.
No, maybe not. Let's move on and talk about Brock Lesnar. So it appeared on social media, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, it appeared on social media like a lot of people were criticizing the Money in the Bank booking. I don't know if these are people that maybe they're like purists or they root for the underdog or whatever it is, but I saw that a lot of people were complaining, saying, oh, sure, the part-time guy gets to come in, and after the other guys have spent 15 minutes busting their asses, he gets to come in, push one guy off the ladder, and wins the Money in the Bank briefcase. I got to be honest, I actually really liked it, Sean.
Yeah, I did too.
You did too.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like this. Number one, I think the element of surprise is so important in pro wrestling. And when you think back to the Attitude Era, that was an element that they always used marvelously back then. And not so much today, maybe because of the internet, maybe because of sites like Fightful.com. But it's an element of surprise that I really like, and I thought it was great. The live crowd loved it. And Brock Lesnar, because of the whole wild card thing, and because they can have both champions on one show, it's a great thing to watch, in my opinion, to have Brock Lesnar, arguably, you know, the toughest guy on the roster, with his choice of who he wants to cash in on. I think it makes for a good story. So I liked the whole thing. I thought it was perfectly fine. Now, granted, if WWE had more foresight, they wouldn't have booked Brock for a year and a half, like a guy that doesn't like the fans, doesn't care about the company, doesn't care about the locker room, doesn't even care about the title, which they did because they thought he was going to go back to UFC. I wish they had more foresight and hadn't done that, but at the same time, because he's part-time and he's only around every few months, I think that's an easy thing to rehabilitate. And based on what we saw with a live audience on Sunday, they were sure happy to see him, I think. So I liked it, man. I thought it was good. Like I said, I think it makes a good element with the whole wild card thing, and I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit different, and I don't get the feeling they're going to sit on this for Brock that long, especially considering they're announcing it next week. And that's okay, because I don't need to see that crutch used every year.
Right.
And they've already done away with the women's version, or at least it's already been cashed in. Mm-hmm. Or they could sit on it for a while, and then every Brock Lesnar appearance goes from being a rehashed same old promo to what's he going to do?
What's he going to
cash in? That could be good. I would like to see them extend that a little bit further, and just have Brock Lesnar's appearances mean a little bit more.
And the other thing I like about it too is, you know, you think about previous Money in the Bank winners, like Dolph Ziggler, like CM Punk, like Jack Swagger, guys who they were going to use the belt to kind of try to get to the next level, and they were maybe the underdog going into it. Brock is the guy that you think, okay, he's going to cash in and he's going to win the title because he's Brock Lesnar and he can kick both their asses. That makes a fun element to this. This makes the champions really have to look over their shoulder. And I just like it. I think it's good. Now, speaking of Money in the Bank, I wanted to ask you about this. What was with the back-to-back incompetent referee finishes? Because now the Samoa Joe one, from what I understand, they called an audible on that because of the bloody nose. Is that true?
Yes.
Is it possible that the shoulder came up unintentionally because Joe's just so big for Ray to keep down? Is that maybe what happened? Or
it's possible, but I mean, considering the fact that there were like 4 ref botches on this show,
yes, I
don't know, and it was very limited in the explanation the following night. Like it was.
They used it in storyline. But I still, yeah. But when watching it, well, the Joe one they mentioned it the next day. But when watching it, I kept thinking to myself, I think it was unintentional. I think that Joe's just so big that, you know, it was hard for Ray to keep him down. But the one that confused me even more was the Lacey Evans non-count on the roll-up.
Yeah.
And that looks so odd because the referee just basically laid there looking at it and did nothing, and you could hear the announcers, you could hear Corey Graves kind of stumble and then go silent. He was like, and then he went silent. That looked completely, I don't know what the hell that was.
Then he buried the ref for not letting Charlotte get up to her feet on the cash-in.
Right.
And then there was another one. And then the following night on Monday Night Raw, there were, of all things, if those, I know at least one was scripted because I had somebody tell me from backstage, but there were so many, I don't know which one they were referring to as being scripted in.
Right. Right.
So the next night on Raw, there were two that were barely noticeable, including one that was during a commercial break in the Usos revival match. And I'm told that Vince was mad about it, like went off about it. And I'm like, homeboy, it happened 4 times the night before, and you probably scripted multiple of them.
Yeah.
Why to have the balls? These referees do not get any love. They do not get any credit for what they do. I've had several wrestlers tell me that some of the refs are on edge because of all the things that happened WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
And they're afraid of losing their jobs in some cases. Some of these refs have multiple jobs even.
Oh, yeah. They're part of the ring crew?
Part of the ring crew, production, like timing out stuff, I think. Like, there's a lot of different stuff. Oh, by the way, now they got to slam their hand into a goddamn piece of concrete about 3 or 6 times a night with the 24/7 rule. Guarantee you at least one referee fractures his hand this year.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, let's talk about this AEW Pac situation.
Oh boy.
Now, he's off Double or Nothing due to creative differences. Man, you know that I have to go off about this for a minute, Sean, because I fucking called this, and I told you this when they did that rally, so I got to talk about this. So
you called it.
Oh, I called it.
Maybe.
And
well,
you know
it might not
I did.
be what you think it is, Jimmy.
Well, so I want to know what you've heard. So there's speculation that it's actually a visa issue. Dave Meltzer has come out and said no. He said it's not a visa issue. It's a legit creative difference. Meltzer says that there are even legal depositions going back and forth to try to force Pac to appear. That's what Meltzer said. Now, apparently, Pac takes his Dragon Gate title so seriously that he's been refusing to put people over on other shows as well, and he refused to put Hangman Page over on Double or Nothing. Now, here's the first thing I want to know, and this is my first question for you. So, when they announced that Pac was going to be part of the company and part of Double or Nothing, they announced it at that rally in Vegas. When they announced it, he was already the Dragon Gate champion.
Yes.
And so the first question I have is, and I don't know if this is something that you would know, did they ever discuss the finish with him prior to last week? Or is it something that they just kind of waited on? Or did Pac at the time agree to it and then like a week ago he changed his mind? This is the first thing I'd like to know.
I'm trying to find that out. Haven't heard anything yet, but I mean, I get the feeling that Pac knew that they wanted a big thing for Hangman Page, because Hangman Page, they had him come out and say, I want to be the first AEW champion.
And he's in the inner circle, like seriously.
All due respect to Dragon Gate. I know they have some shows that do between 1,500 to 5,000 even.
Right.
A lot of the shows they're doing are like a few hundred people. Right. And I get it. He's loyal to them, all that. This is where you got to start getting people exclusively.
You think?
Yeah. Well, obviously. But I wonder if it's a creative issue, why can't he do StarCast? And he had a visa issue WrestleMania weekend.
Maybe because Conrad Thompson's so close to Cody and all that, they were like, well, screw it, we're not paying for his trans in his hotel.
And if there's depositions...
Yeah, that's what Meltzer said, yeah.
I hadn't heard that. I hadn't listened to anything of his this week. But, that's rough. And see, the thing is, I think you need a Pac. You need him.
It was, I think, 3 or 4 from the top in promotion.
I mean, arguably 2 or 3, you could say. Because they had billed that as like, these are going to be the next guys. Yep. Since then, they've announced that the winner of the Battle Royal will face the winner of Omega and Jericho down the line for the title.
Yeah.
But I think you need Pac. I think that Kenny Omega versus Pac is a big-time match that you got to build to in the future. And I don't know. And the fact that Hangman Page went over to the UK to do it. Now, this isn't me reporting anything. This isn't me. I do not have insight on this situation. I have been trying to find out. But when Hangman Page has to go over there, you mean to tell me that Conrad or somebody wouldn't have set up a ring at StarCast and run this right there? and said, "Oh, damn, you know what? You can't miss StarCast next time. You never know what's going to happen at StarCast."
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, here's another thing about it that I don't understand. So they didn't want to do a non-finish at Double or Nothing, like a DQ or something, because, you know, apparently Double or Nothing or AEW, they want to be more, you know, like a pure sport. They want clean finishes and all of that. So here's what I don't understand.
No rain delays.
What's that?
No rain delays.
Yeah, no rain delays. So here's what I don't understand. So they fly Hangman Page to England to wrestle Pac on a WrestleGate show. And what do? They put it for free on AEW's YouTube page to kind of say, okay, we're presenting the match to you in another form. And then they do a DQ finish. So they don't want to do a DQ finish at Double or Nothing, but then the match they present's got a DQ finish anyway.
Paying $50 for that. So I
get it, but that's not the. I get it, but that's not. There's not a lot of people that are going to buy the show for Pac versus Hangman Page.
And
not a lot.
I wonder what their plans with Hangman Page are, that they couldn't be like, all right, we'll just have Pac win this one. Or if Pac said, hey, I'm never going to lose there, that could be an issue. But
I mean, to me, if I'm the promoter, you're setting a... it's like what we talk about all the time with the guys that complain in WWE. You're establishing a precedent. Mm-hmm. So a guy like Pac, if he says, I can't put anybody over, and if I don't know who the hell's doing the booking, if it's Cody or Tony, whoever, if they respond and say, okay, cool, on this one, then we'll put you over. You don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to establish that precedent. So I just want to say this. So, you know, I've been critical of AEW with some of their decision making. Sean has joked around about how I hope that they go up and smoke because I've been critical. I can't remember verbatim, but you said something. The reason I've been critical of them, and again, I want them to succeed because it's going to help the industry as a whole, is going to light a fire under WWE, and that's why I want them to succeed. But I've been critical of them because I think they've made some bad decisions. This was one of the things that I talked about. Why would you sign a guy and put him on your show, especially when you're trying to go worldwide? They have a deal in the U.S., and they're working on deals in Canada and the U.K. Why would you sign a guy, put him on your show, and continue working someplace else? To me, that's stupid that you would do that. And I had always used an example of an injury. When this first came up, I used MJF as the example. I said, what if MJF gets injured on an MLW show and you've invested TV time in him? Pac opened up a whole new can of worms with the whole creative difference thing, but it goes back to the same problem. Why would you book a guy and allow him to work someplace else? It's dumb. And I know that Cody and the Bucks and all these guys, and this again could play into the fact that these are active wrestlers who are executives, and so they want to be one of the boys and they want to, you know, do good by the boys. It's bad business. I would not invest 2 minutes of television time into anybody that's not exclusive. And I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's Pac. I don't care if it's MJF. If they're not exclusive, you're not on my TV show. And that's it, because these are the issues that you run into, and they've learned their lesson. They haven't even done one show yet, Sean, and they've already had to learn that lesson.
I could see exceptions with talent sharing and maybe one-offs like Jushin Thunder Liger when he came over. And
they could do one-offs like that, sure. But they take Pac, they bring him to the rally. He even had the Dragon Gate belt with him. They bring him to the rally. They put a lot of effort into promoting that match. I think on the website it was like fourth from the top. And a week before the show, this happens. They did it to themselves, and I thought it made them look foolish that they did this.
What the hell they're paying Pac? Not AEW, Dragon Gate.
What
the hell are they paying Pac? And I mean, the thing is, they run a lot of shows. They've ran I think 70 shows this year already.
Maybe that's why he's loyal.
I mean, they're running a lot.
Is he on? He's not on all of them though, right?
No, not anywhere near that. But I mean, you look at it. He's 32 years old. Let me see. He has already wrestled. He's wrestled 55 times this year. So I mean.
That's all right. 10 times a month?
110, 115 times a year, even without AEW. That's a healthy living.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the loyalty comes from. You know? So Double or Nothing now. I'm not going to go over the entire card. You and Alex did it. You can go on YouTube. It's there. I just want to talk about some of the feature matches. So Jericho versus Kenny Omega, they've announced that now is going to be kind of like a tournament semifinal for the AEW title. The winner of the Casino Battle Royal is going to face the winner of Omega Jericho at a future date for the AEW title. So that adds an extra wrinkle to it. That's kind of cool. Do you think we're going to see any surprises? Do you think that like Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, or Jake Hager, aka Jack Swagger, might show up on that show, or maybe in the Battle Royal?
Moxley, possibly. Either that or maybe he faces Page, or maybe Page enters himself into that battle royal to get the title shot.
And that makes sense that if they did that. Yeah.
As far as Hager, I could see him eventually coming in. I don't know if it's right now, though. And I think they would be wise to do it if he can show that he can compete at a high level in the ring. There's been a lot of criticisms about his indie work because he's been really, really focused on MMA. But you show up in the shape that he showed up in that Bellator thing, 239 pounds.
Yeah, he looked good.
Keep in mind, 239 pounds is one of the smaller guys in the WWF days. And Jack Swagger showed up lean and beat the snot out of a guy.
He beat the snot out of a guy that looks like, some average next door neighbor walking down the street.
Yes, he did. But he still beat him up. And that's all that matters. And that they can use the footage or whatever. I'm sure Bellator would love that.
Yep.
Zone would love the publicity. But the thing is, if he does that and he can do it at a little bit of a higher level, you can get your shoot fighter, because outside of Tom Lawler and maybe Josh Barnett, there aren't a ton out there right now that have that level of experience. Scorpio Sky's done a little MMA, but that's not his gimmick. So,
I think Tom Lawler would be a good pickup, but does he have exclusivity at all anywhere else?
He works for MLW.
MLW, yeah, he's champion,
They have a good relationship with MLW too. So
yeah, you're gonna get me on a rant about the exclusivity thing again. But, all right, now one other AEW note, and I want to get your comments on this, Sean, and I really, if you get the opportunity, not that I want to, stir shit up with AEW, but I kind of do. If you get the opportunity to talk to Cody Rhodes on the record in Vegas, I want you to ask him about this.
Jimmy.
I don't plan on doing too much of that stuff. If I get the opportunity, I will.
You're just along for the ride on my dime, right?
What was that? Yeah, what was that? Yeah. Anybody watching this, if you are going to be in Vegas, you'll find me at Beer Park. It's in front of the Paris. I'll be there a fair bit. It's kind of like an outdoor sports bar. Mon Amiga B is my favorite breakfast spot. You'll find me and Sean there probably. But anyway, I want Cody Rhodes to answer this, Sean. So the Young Bucks did an interview with Bleacher Report. And they said that they had wanted, prior to All Elite Wrestling starting, they had wanted Ring of Honor and New Japan to come together and offer them dual contracts that would allow them to do both.
Yeah.
This is a quote from Nick Jackson, all right? So this is a direct quote from Nick Jackson. He said, "Why don't you guys get us a dual contract?" And they just didn't get it done. We would have easily stayed, and there would have never been an All Elite Wrestling if they would have met what we wanted, but it didn't get done.
Isn't that amazing?
That's not what I'm saying. I want to know from Cody Rhodes, do you agree that if the Young Bucks weren't there would be no All Elite Wrestling? Because I call bullshit on that. So I want to know from Cody Rhodes, because everybody looks at Cody Rhodes as kind of the catalyst for this, right? I want to know from Cody Rhodes, what are your thoughts on Nick Jackson, one of your 18 EVPs, who said in this interview, if we had taken those deals, there would be no All Elite Wrestling? I want to know what Cody Rhodes thinks of that.
That's a good question. That is a good question that I look forward to not answering or not getting answered.
Would you ask him, though? Would you ask him?
Of course I would ask him. I ask him shit all the time.
Ask him. Awesome.
And oftentimes I get replied to with a picture of his dog.
Yeah, you've told me that, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, hey, at least it's...
I would love to know his thoughts on that, because if I have one business partner in this business, I don't have 17.
Me.
Yeah. But obviously, let's move on. I just want Cody Rhodes to answer that question. I want to answer that question.
You're so aggressive, Jimmy.
No, I'm just curious. As a business person, I'm curious what he would say about that. Let's move on and talk about the 24/7 title. Now, I know that a lot of people think that the belt looks like ass. We have a picture of it. Do you have the picture of that title? There's the 24/7 title. Now, the only thing I can think of when I see that belt, Sean, is that it was put together quickly.
Oh, yeah, you think there's nothing on the side plates?
There's nothing on the side plates. I noticed that the side plates, they have like a little corner, little thing on the corners, but otherwise they're blank. They put that thing together fast, probably within the last week. They did a rush job on it. So a lot of guys are complaining about that. Now, The Attitude Era is 24/7 rule for the hardcore title. I have fond memories of it. I think you have fond memories of it. Ironically enough, and I know Sean talked about this on social media, we have plans for the Fightful Championship, and we've been talking about this for months. Plans for the Fightful Championship surrounding the 24/7 rule.
I have already written skits for it. For the love of God.
There you go. I got a couple ideas as well. Yeah, and I got a couple ideas as well. But that's what happened. Now, I was listening to some of Meltzer's podcasts, and they were shitting all over the 24/7 rule, saying, it's being made to look like a joke and blah, 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 blah.
Fightful podcast instead.
Anyway, I do too. Obviously, this is not meant to be taken seriously. This is meant to be comic relief. It was the first time around 20 years ago. It's meant to be comic relief. It's meant to be entertaining. I'm okay with that. When word got out that they were planning to bring it back, I was optimistic because I thought, okay, so we're going to get some fun segments and they can get guys on the show that aren't normally on the show.
That's the whole point of it, I was told.
You can introduce the audience to people from NXT UK. You can introduce the audience to people from 205 Live that they might not know. Now, that being said, when they first executed it, the first segment with Mick Foley, I despised it. And on social media, I was pretty critical of it because of how stupid it was. They laid the belt in the ring. They used all these lower card guys that they always book to look inept every week. And they somehow made them look even more inept than they normally do because these guys were so bumbling, they couldn't even get into the ring to grab the belt. And I don't know if you noticed this, Sean. You know when all the guys were running out and then they started brawling at ringside? A couple of the guys at the back of that line, Titus O'Neil being one of them, ran down. There was nobody in front of him because everybody was too busy brawling. He could have kept running, slid into the ring. He stopped for no reason and started hitting somebody at ringside.
Alex brought that up.
It was so bumbling and so stupid. I hated the way they started this thing, but I felt like they made amends later because I felt that R-Truth thing with Bobby Roode, that was reminiscent of the hardcore title 24/7 rule 20 years ago, the way they did that. I also like what they did on SmackDown. He actually retained it because he escaped Jinder Mahal, of course he did, and the B team. So I thought they made amends with it, but I just hated the fact with how it started. You know?
Yeah, I do too. From the way that the belt looked to Mick Foley's promo, which he admitted sucked, it was very confusing because he said, the third hour of Raw is going to be more Raw. And that is a thing they're doing. They've changed a lot of themes on that. But they made it sound like it's a 24/7 title, but is it only just going to be on the last hour of Raw?
It was confusing, yeah.
And not only that, he used the term scramble. You grab the title. Well, a scramble within WWE speak is you have a match, and then at the end of that given time, whoever the champion still is there, which is literally what R-Truth mistakenly thought the title was the next day. It was confusing as hell.
It was, and here's the other issue that I had with it. So Mick Foley's cutting this promo, and he says, you could be at Chuck E. Cheese, and if somebody has a referee, they can attack you and try to pin you for the title. You can be on the golf course. You can be in the shower. I watched all that, and I thought to myself, they have how many titles now in the company? They have 11 titles on the main roster. They have 18 titles total if you include NXT and NXT UK. They have 23 people that currently hold the title belt. That means that there's a lot less prestige to the 24/7 title in 2019 than there was to the hardcore title 20 years ago. And so the question I thought they needed to answer is, why the hell would you want to hold this freaking title?
Jimmy, I think it was probably it's one of the last matches I ended up working for this promotion that was out here, and there were 7 matches on the card, and I think there were 6 titles. And
really?
They're like, oh, do you all want a title match, myself and my catch wrestling coach? And we looked at it and we go, no, we're good.
Right.
We're good. We don't, for what?
Right.
It's what makes it's more special that we don't have one.
That you don't have one, right.
It's run into the ground, and the U.S. title, we don't know what's happening with it. The Intercontinental title's barely, and here's the thing. Every week since WrestleMania, a champion has been beaten on this show. So what does being a champion mean? Is it for a piece of gold? Is it for a monetary gain? What does that mean?
Yeah, I think that what they need to do, I think that next Monday on Raw, they need to explain that if you're the 24/7 champion, say maybe by the end of a show or end of a week, whatever, that there's a financial incentive involved. They got to explain that. Maybe they can even say, this guarantees you a spot on the card. And if you have a spot on the card, then there's financial incentive. They need to explain why you got 20 guys chasing the champion backstage. Because right now, you saw Sami Zayn, right? Sami Zayn standing there, he watches him run, he walks the other way. On Raw, Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley are standing there when Bobby Roode runs by, and they just watched him run, and then they just kept talking because the title meant nothing to them.
Yeah.
Right? So they need to explain it.
Precedent to set.
Yes, I agree.
I like Andrew. Andrew was like, put it on somebody important first off. Like,
so somebody
AJ Styles or somebody wins it. Immediately you're like, oh shit, AJ Styles has this.
Right.
Then if somebody else wins it, it's like, okay, he lost it under weird circumstances, but you know that somebody important cares about this title.
And I don't know who it was on social media, and I apologize for forgetting who it was. Somebody on social media said they should have Brock Lesnar win it and have Brock Lesnar sit in the open locker room backstage, like, come and get it kind of thing. And I know that I would find that funny. Like, you got guys like outside the locker room, like, you do it. No, you do it. You know what I mean?
That was sort of similar to like The Undertaker. I remember when he won it and he had a bit of a run with the title.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he had a bit of a run because... gosh, I can't remember. It was when he was the American Badass or Big Evil or one of those. But he had an extended run with that championship. I mean, nobody ever held it for more than 3 months, but he held it for like, I think 2. But I'm okay with it. It makes for interesting content. I can tell that they're trying to go into different areas of the arena. I appreciate that. But the thing is, they should have announced this before that goddamn wild card too, because then you probably don't need a wild card. Because you know what? Anybody can win this anywhere. I'm okay with that. Every pay-per-view, you have some co-branded action there. It can switch between a Raw and a SmackDown superstar. Mm-hmm. That wild card is ruining the quality of WWE for me. And that being said, I've enjoyed the last 2 Raws. Yeah. But the wild card is ruining the quality of the program for me.
Problem is because things are changing week to week, show to show. I mean, Vince McMahon didn't know 2 weeks ago he was going to do a 24/7 title, probably.
Yeah.
And this is the issue. Things are just changing so quickly that there's no time to have any kind of long-term planning. Let's move on to talk about Impact Wrestling, because you continue to make new friends online, Sean. You're always finding a way to just get more people loving you on social media. So more woes for Impact Wrestling, and we'll talk about a few. So we've known for a while that they're on a shoestring budget. I think they've done decent with what they have, especially since D'Amore and Callis took over back behind the scenes. There continue to be issues related to management, especially in terms of the parent company operations. Yeah. So Pursuit Channel. Nigel might find this funny. Pursuit Channel is owned by the parent company of Impact Wrestling, Nigel. Okay. Last week's show, the last 24 minutes, which is where the main event should have been, instead they had 24 minutes of commercials.
Whoa.
Because Pursuit Channel is clearly run by a bunch of monkeys there at Anthem. Maybe the same guys that came in and destroyed the port in our office, Nigel.
Did I ever tell you my Pursuit story?
No.
Okay, so my wife's best friend married a guy who's big into hunting. Had a locally produced hunting show, and I don't know what was up on it, but I was explaining to him this Impact deal when it happened, and I was like, "Yeah, man, they're on this really low-level network. You can probably end up getting your show on there." And he looked at me and he said, "I am on there."
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it really says something. I think it was PW Insider that reported this. It really says something when Impact is looking for a better television outlet in the fall because they want to get off the station owned by their parent company.
Yeah.
That says it all right there. So they have that issue. They have issues with people asking for their release. So Killer Cross asked for his. First he wanted more money. They denied it. Then he asked for his release. They denied it. WrestleZone reported that he's making less than an NXT entry-level deal, and he's losing money every show due to travel expenses. Now, I got to say this, and this might not be a popular opinion, I have to side with Impact in his case, because why would you sign the contract? Yeah. Right? It's on you for signing it. I say the same thing with Sasha Banks. It's on you for signing it. I think that in WWE's case, the Revival are doing it the right way. Gallows and Anderson are doing it the right way. Honor your contract, and then you'll be out. Sasha Banks is sitting at home. They're going to freeze your deal, and it's going to make it worse for you.
If you're in WWE, ask them to re-sign you. Maybe they'll release you.
Maybe. So there's Killer Cross. There's reports that Scarlett Bordeaux asked for her release.
That's Killer Cross's girlfriend.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that, but you know that WWE and AEW would be jumping on her quick.
Oh yeah, and Killer Cross too. I mean, Killer Cross he is gonna be real. I mean, he's already really good, but he's gonna be. If you put him in WWE tomorrow, he's like a mid-card, upper mid-card guy. He's really good. He's everything the WWE wishes Baron Corbin was, I think.
Except Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon loves Baron Corbin. Thinks he's the greatest heel in the company.
From a character standpoint, I think that they wish Baron had his promos.
Now, anybody not familiar with Impact, not familiar with Scarlett Bordeaux, she actually was on WWE television at one time as enhancement talent for Nia Jax. We have a photo of it. Put that up, Nigel. So you might remember this. This is when Nia Jax is feuding with Sasha Banks, so they put her in a legit boss shirt, as you can see. But that's Scarlett Bordeaux right there. Then the other Impact news that came out, and this is where I'm going to turn the floor over to Sean Ross Sapp, because this is where Sean Ross Sapp made a bunch of new friends. News came out about Jordynne Grace. She signed, she didn't sign. She signed, she didn't sign. Tell the story, Sean.
I go into great detail on the FightfulSelect.com Fightful Report podcast, but I'll tell it here. In October, PW Insider, flip in your paper, Jimmy.
Sorry.
Interrupting the audio. PW Insider reported that Jordynne signed a 2-year deal. That obviously came from the Impact side of things because they thought they had. In talking to Jordynne, they wanted her to sign a 4-year deal, and she was like, no, I think 2 is good. They agreed, but never sent the contract back. She's like, all right, I'm getting paid, whatever. She knew that she wasn't working with a contract, and I had people that interviewed her over that period of time that were like, yeah, she wouldn't answer this contract question. She was like, hey, I'd like to skip that for now if you don't mind. Well, she let them know at Rebellion, I'm not under a contract. I feel like I've proven my worth. I would like a raise to this amount because I'm not really making money for this. This is for exposure. I think I'm worth it not being for exposure anymore. Impact declined, and then she reached out to Ring of Honor, where her fiance works. Is also working without a contract, at least right now. She reached out to NWA, and I'm told they made very good offers. And I don't know if that's collectively or individually. There was interest from WWE. There was interest, or there were discussions with AEW, but she said she didn't know what AEW is going to be. Doesn't know if she'd be happy in WWE by the sounds of it. And doesn't know how the locker room situation would be for ROH. And there is no locker room for NWA. So she wanted to stay in Impact, but she wanted the amount of money that she had requested. So word gets out, and it just so happens, word gets out the week before AEW Double or Nothing. Very smart, but she had told me, I'm already booked that weekend. I wasn't going to show up there anyway. Impact, see, the thing is, Impact fans were upset that we put scrambling to sign her. They were. They were scrambling to sign her, and they did sign her. Her deal is 2 years from the point that she signed it this past weekend. She was very happy to stay with Impact. She said she likes it there just a ton. And, yeah, she's sticking around in Impact.
Who dropped the ball on that? Do you know?
I do not know. I don't know the person
in
particular. I know that he was surprised that she wasn't signed.
So just to recap, Jordynne Grace agrees to an amount of money, agrees to a 2-year contract. They don't send her the contract, so then she gets to re-up her salary before she signs the contract that she could have signed. And you know something? I know that the hardcore Impact fans, they get a little upset with us sometimes because we crap on Impact a lot.
Whoa! I do not crap on Impact a lot. I review their friggin' pay-per-views. I hired a guy to review their show weekly. We run their show. We stream their show live every week.
Okay, let me reiterate. I crap on Impact a lot.
You do. Andrew did 3 exclusive interviews last week with Impact.
But I don't do it.
I don't. Goons bitching, saying you only report to negative news, and I'm like, listen, asshole. If you were there retweeting, the Sami Callihan article, where were these goobers? Where were these fucking goobers when we published the Cody Deaner interview? Did you see a big swell in traffic when we published that, Jimmy?
No.
I didn't see a big swell of traffic when I interview any particular one of these talent. Hey, I mean, my fucking audio. Hold on. I don't see this big swell of support and traffic when we report all this positive stuff that they claim that we don't do. Yeah. So when people come along and they're like, oh, you only report the negative, that is a big load of shit. We cover Impact as we would any company. We're on their media calls. We do their interviews. We sent Melissa to their pay-per-view.
Yeah, we did. She gave out Ross Sapp masks and bumper stickers.
Yeah, I mean, my God. And you know
I have historically shit on Impact a fair bit, but only because they did really stupid shit.
Well, you know what, Jimmy?
That's
if your dick game is getting shit on because it's trash, you can take Blue Chew and get a really hard penis. BlueChew.com brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. Whether you're looking to make an impact or somebody's in pursuit of you.
That's cute. That's good.
They're going to land a spike. That's for sure. Take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, whether nobody's watching or dozens of people are watching. They work twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. No in-person doctor's visits. No waiting at the pharmacy. No more awkwardness. And you can use the code FIGHTFUL to get your first shipment free. Just pay $5 shipping. I like Impact Wrestling, Jimmy.
I like it when they do good things, but when they do stupid things, I'm gonna talk about it.
You know what I don't like? People telling me to hang myself or get shot because I reported a piece of news.
Did somebody say that?
What?
Multiple people said that, Jimmy.
And especially after the Ashley Massaro thing too.
I had some clown saying, "Well, it's not professional of you to say fuck at them when they say that," and I'm like, pardon me? Do you watch our Wednesday show?
Oh yeah, I swear openly.
I'm like, that does not like. Throw on the earmuffs, homeboy.
Oh, yeah. Fuck shitballs.
Get over it. Get over it.
Like, who cares? All right, let's go to Stupid People.
Stupid People is what this segment's called. You might wonder why we do it. It's not about wrestling at all. Used to be WWE's weekly usage of stupid nicknames, which we did hoping they'd stop giving wrestlers lame names. But it didn't work, so we gave up. In the new segment, we came up with this Stupid People. Stupid People. Stupid People. Duh.
Okay. As I say every week, Sean, I always wonder, am I going to be able to find 6 Stupid People news stories, 3 for this show, 3 for Fightful Select Stupid People Extended, and every week it's not a challenge. Not a challenge. This first one reported by Global News in Canada on May 16. Are you much of a boat guy, Sean? I know we joked about how you wanted me to get you a gold boat at my cottage, but are you much of a boat guy?
No.
No? You've been on a boat, though, right?
Yeah. Not much of an open water guy.
Okay. Are you much of a boat guy, Nigel?
No,
not really. I got to bring you guys to my cottage sometime. So there's a guy from Port Moody, British Columbia in Canada, and he was pulling his boat out of the water, and it started making a loud noise because the propeller was rubbing up against the ramp, and he's pulling it out. So he got out of his SUV, he went into the boat to try to lift the propeller up. Problem is, he left his car in neutral. Here's the end result. Put up that video clip, Nigel. Watch this.
No.
Look at the guy, Sean.
Oh
Watch
my
this.
goodness.
Look at whoosh.
Shit.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, the guy suffered only minor injuries. The car and the boat had to be pulled out of the water. And then to make matters worse, after they pulled the boat and the car out of the water, car caught fire. Put up that picture, Nigel. Look at that. Turned out it had an electric battery, so the water, did not mix with that. So the car caught on fire. Good day for that man. Good day for him.
Years ago, we had some brake work done on a car of mine, and something went terribly wrong. And I was parked at a pizza joint or something, and something I just brought it from the shop, and it rolled down the hill in reverse. Something happened and it shifted out of gear. That thing hopped the hill in reverse and slapped into that. Yeah, we got some free work out of that one at least. But
this next one, today we have 2 SRS files, Sean.
Ooh.
2. This next one, SRS file number 1, reported by the Fort Myers News Press on May 9. Sean's going to like this one, Nigel. So last December, A 36-year-old man at Cape Coral, Florida, robbed a house, and he got caught because not only did they have surveillance, but he was wearing a shirt from his workplace that made him very easy to identify. All right? So he got caught. He just got a 5.5-year prison sentence for theft. Turns out he only stole one item. What item do you think he stole, Sean?
Oh, God. Probably a GPS or something with a geo tracker, something that, yeah.
Put up the photo of what he stole. He stole a Nintendo Switch.
You know what? I gotta say, probably worth it. Probably worth it.
I heard that story and I thought, I wonder if Melissa somehow met some dude in Cape Coral, Florida. You know what I mean? Trying to make good on that deal. She could have just bought him one, yeah. All right, last one. SRS file number 2, reported by WBNS out of Columbus, Ohio on May 20. So there's a middle school out of Powell, Ohio called Hyatt's Middle School. And they had a global gourmet class that featured a student cooking competition with the teachers serving as judges. All right? So student cooking competition, teachers serving as judges. The local sheriff's office is now investigating, and felony assault charges might be filed against some of the students. What do you think happened?
Somebody's cooked balls.
They put urine and semen in crepes, served them up to the teachers, and because kids are stupid, they documented the whole thing on video while they put the stuff in the crepes.
Yeah, but their skin is going to be so clear, Jimmy.
Lab tests are underway to verify the substance involved, but apparently there is video footage, and so they're pretty sure that that's what it is. So
feed off into crepes.
I mean, it made me think of like Van Wilder.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Talladega Nights. I like really thin pancakes.
There you go. Okay, let's move on to a viewer question. We have a viewer question from the Advocate at the Ace of Knave 7 on Twitter. He said, I should have put this up on the thing, but I didn't. He said, Jimmy Van, Sean, Ross Sapp, do you guys think that WWE contracts with advertisers have clauses stating when certain ads should be like mid-match, as there seem to be far too many mid-match ads, or is it just poor show layout and producing? So from my understanding, and I have not seen the contracts, but from my understanding, WWE doesn't get the ad revenue. NBC Universal does. And so it's their decision. And from what I understand, the reason that they put the ads mid-match is because they consider them to be DVR fast-forwarding proof. Yeah. Because even if you fast-forward, if you're watching the match, you're going to see the ad. They think that they have a more captive audience, and that's the reason that they do it. And that's what I've heard. Have you heard anything different?
No, I think you would know more than me in that regard. But yeah.
That's what I've heard.
What I would assume.
Yep. Kevin Owens, you broke a story last night. We're doing this on May 22nd. You broke a story last night. What's the story, Sean?
Kevin Owens told WWE that he didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. I don't know if maybe he'll change his mind or if they'll even try to convince him. But he didn't want to go there. And also, they didn't know the finish of that match Sunday until early in the day. And they didn't, there was a question about whether or not Owens would even be able to wrestle, like some clearance issues.
Really?
Yeah, that I had heard.
Because of his injury?
I don't know what the issue may be there.
Okay.
Somebody's been kind of cynical when relaying that, but didn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. We've seen that and he has been before, but we've seen Daniel Bryan go, we've seen John Cena go, we've seen Roman Reigns go, and then change their mind, and then Reigns has changed his mind again. So.
Yeah, I'm sure they made it worth his while. Yeah. You know,
they got to make it worth their while to be at Sands of Time.
So that is kind of a Alex and Sean post-Raw thing. I'm not going to touch it. That's fine.
Post-Raw thing. It's post-SmackDown.
Sure.
Sands of Time thing, Jimmy.
Okay, so why didn't the Viking Raiders drop the NXT tag titles in the ring?
I don't know. And you didn't even have to do it. I've asked about this. No, everybody thinks that they should have.
Yes, they should have.
It's a freaking fatal four-way at the pay-per-view.
Not only that, but time-honored tradition. That's what Vince McMahon always said, time-honored tradition.
Not an NXT, Paige and Asuka, and now the War Raiders just drop them and leave them. And I'm like, they literally don't have to get pinned.
Yeah, I don't like it, man. They're supposed to make somebody strong on the way out. I don't like it. I don't like it. All right. You touched upon that they're changing the look and feel of Raw for hour 3. Why are they doing that? Are they doing that because the ratings traditionally drops in hour 3 and they think that maybe somehow this is going to keep the audience?
Put some shit in your hand, throw it at the wall, and see if it hangs out there, Jimmy.
That's what it is.
Wild card, 24/7, changing this, making all these switches, throwing shit at the wall, hoping it sticks. Yeah. I'm okay with it, and the buzzword that I kept being told about was Raw from like 4 people. Like I thought it was a rib on me at one point, but then it was told to an intermediary as well. And I was like, damn, that's the buzzword going around, huh? And as I told Alex on Monday, I'm kind of glad they're doing it for hour 3 because if you do it for the whole show, it gets old like 2 weeks in. Yeah. But if you do it for 1 hour each week, maybe not so much when you see the shift and the transition. Right. Okay. You mentioned the wild card rule. I mean, for Raw, it's basically the Roman, Shane, Kofi, and some random guy rule. Well, that's basically what Shane it is. Everywhere now. Shane is everywhere. He has gone from the most likable McMahon to another McMahon that's overexposed and needs to go away for a while. And I was looking at his recent track record, and I realize he's a McMahon and everything, but I was looking at his recent track record. So he wins the SmackDown Tag Team titles with The Miz. Then he beats The Miz at WrestleMania. Then he wins the Best in the World tournament in Saudi Arabia when he was only in the finals. Then he's the one that scored the pinfall on Jey Uso in the multi-man tag last week. Then he beats The Miz again at Money in the Bank. Now he's going into a program against arguably the top guy in Roman Reigns. What the hell, man? I know he's a McMahon and everything. No one looks at him as a wrestler, even though he's in good shape and he's a good-sized guy and everything, but nobody looks at him as a pro wrestler. I don't really understand it. Now, the only thing I will say, and I mentioned this on Twitter the other night, the match with Roman at Super Showdown, if they make it where he needs Elias's interference and he needs Drew McIntyre's interference and all of that, I can accept it. But if they, for even 1 minute, make him look competitive in the ring with Roman Reigns, I'm going to have a big problem with that. That doesn't benefit anybody. Yeah, it doesn't help anybody. No. And I get it, he's a familiar name. That's neat. But, geez, man, let's stop leaning on one guy. Let's make stars. Yeah, I mean, look what they're doing with Kofi Kingston, right? Yeah. Kofi Kingston, I kind of compared to Bret Hart when he won his WWE title the first time. And they had him out there every week taking on everybody from like Fatu to Razor Ramon to the 1-2-3 Kid, heels, baby faces. He was defending against all comers. Randy Savage, as the Intercontinental Champion, did the same thing. He defended against all comers. And Kofi's doing the same thing, and he's getting clean wins. That's how you build a guy, Sean. Like I on the Fightful Report podcast every week, I do some stats, and there was one that was just amazing. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Kofi Kingston, since February, in singles action or gauntlet action, whatever it may be, it's been Daniel Bryan like 3 times, Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe twice, Orton twice, Sheamus, Massaro, Nakamura, Zayn, and Kevin Owens. He is not only getting the reactions of a main eventer, he's getting the booking of a main eventer. Yeah. And I love it. And a lot of people say, oh, it's not realistic. He was a jobber for a long time. Jimmy, you'll know this name, Robbie Lawler. Mm-hmm. He looked like he was about done in MMA. He looked like he was cooked. He couldn't. Bisping too. Yeah, couldn't put together 2 or 3 wins in a row. Yep. Both became world champions. Yep. It is realistic. It can happen. Not streaks. People get career revivals, and Kofi Kingston has delivered, and WWE has delivered too. Yeah, you know what I think he needs, though? I think they need to do something with his music, like give more juice to that music. Yeah. Because that music, when it starts, aside from when the choir starts playing, it's a very kind of low-key, bass-heavy kind of music that doesn't draw excitement from the crowd. Because all it is just bum, you know what I mean? Like, they need to do something with the music, but otherwise, I think they're doing a great job with Kofi, and I think they need to stay the course with him for a while, because I still think that a lot of people, myself included, think that they're going to pull the trigger on a title switch. So they need to stay the course with him, maybe even till SummerSlam, or past that even, and then you've got a guy. Then you've got another guy that you can depend on. What would you think of Dolph Ziggler really quickly? I thought that was a good one-night build, but...
Yeah, the problem I had with it is that they've positioned him for so long as a mid-card guy, win some, lose some, because of that. And they've also done this thing with him for so long where he comes back, bitches to the audience about where he's at. I mean, they did it with this record scratch a year ago.
Yeah. Well, he didn't bitch this time. He pleaded with him, and I thought that was a nice little transition.
Yeah, I mean, when you broke the story about, hey, Kevin Owens doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, then it made sense. So it's like, okay, so now Kofi's got an opponent. He's going to beat Dolph at Super Showdown, and then maybe Dolph's going to go away again.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for you, bud.
Guys, make sure you guys subscribe, leave a thumbs up, hit the bell for notifications.
I'll see you Friday, Sean, and we're going to have some fun, buddy. We're going to have some fun in Las Vegas. Sean actually said to me, on Skype earlier, he said, Jay, I hope I'm going to have time to do my interviews and stuff, because he thinks I'm going to just take him all over Las Vegas. Not going to do that. I told him you've got all day, every day. I'm not going to do that.
You'll also get to meet Andrew, who is now a full-time writer for us, and who I think is going to be a big, big part of our future. Both he, Jeremy, and Joe Holbert are doing great. Best team setup I've ever had. But
awesome.
Go check out the MMA channel too, guys. We have Harry Kettle doing some new interviews. He interviewed Jack Hermanson, who just knocked out or just beat up Jacare Souza. He just interviewed Ricardo Lamas, a perennial top 10 featherweight in the UFC. Go check that out. There is no MMA show this week, but we will have video updates. I'm going to have a lot of stuff. Most of my interviews will drop after Double or Nothing, but I'm going to get some scrum type stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you see us there, come say hi. Hand us money. That would be great, too. I like money a lot.
Bobby Heenan used to always say, I won't be offended by cash.
Yeah, there you go. I will not be offended by cash. But really, I am looking forward to seeing you guys. I'm going to be doing some more traveling for the site, doing a lot more in-person interviews. So pretty cool, pretty cool. But guys, subscribe, leave a thumbs up. We're out. Subscribe to Fightful on YouTube for the latest exclusive podcasts, interviews, and news across boxing, MMA, and pro wrestling.